Welcome to SportsAbility Park. In this video, we want to just give you a quick overview of what's included in the park and how to move around and how to interact with others. So here we are at the front gate of SportsAbility Park, and we have with us our executive director, Lori Gussack, here. And she's with us to show what it looks like to interact with others once you're in the park. And so as you can see, she can move her hands around because she has a VR headset that has hand controllers. And so she's able to wave and do different hand gestures. Also, her head movements. She's giving us a little dance. And as you see, when she laughs or talks, any sound coming through her mic, the little bubble above her head will show to let you know that she's speaking. And so that's one way you can communicate is through verbal communication here in the park. Another way you can communicate is once I click on her avatar here, you'll notice above her head there's some options, and one of them is message. So if I click that, it's basically like sending her a text message or a chat message, and they have some pre-written messages that you can send just by clicking on one and clicking send. But if you're on a I'm on a PC, so it's easy for me to type in a custom message. So here in the message box, I can type a custom message and click send, and that'll come to her as a little pop-up chat message, and then she can choose to respond to it if she would like. And if she does, you'll get to see what it looks like when you receive a message from someone. And you can see her hand gesture there you can see she's using the controller to select some options. And there she goes, she replied to us. And so that's another way that you can communicate with others is through chat messages. So I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And let me click on her avatar again. And you'll see the little F in the top corner indicates that we're friends. And at the bottom it says friends for 3 weeks. So there's some benefits to having people as friends in AltSpace. One is you can interact with them even when you're not in the same park together or the same virtual space. But also you can find your friends on the menu here. I'll show you this quickly. If you go to people on the menu, you can see that my online friends, Laurie is one of them, and she's in SportsAbility Commons. So if I was to hover, if we're in the same space now, so I can't select it, but if I clicked on Go To, it would take me exactly where she's at. And so that's another one of those benefits of being friends with people within the park here, or within AltSpace. And so let me see, was there anything else? Oh yes, so if you click on someone's avatar, if you can hear a lot of noise coming through their microphone, maybe they have dogs barking in the background or something like that, you can click on this little mute icon and mute them, and that way you don't hear them. They can still speak to others, but you won't be able to hear what they're saying. And so that's another option of interacting with others. And then finally, another way you can communicate is when you open up, not open up the menu, but your options here, you'll notice this little emoji smiley face. And if you click on it, you'll see this little window comes up, the wheel of different emojis you can select. And so here, I can wave, I can give a smiley face. And so those are other ways that you can communicate with others non-verbally. And so there's several options of how you can interact with others in the park. And there you go. You see when someone else does that, the emojis float above their head, so you can tell who's sending that. So those are different ways you can communicate with others in the park. Thank you, Laurie, for your assistance in helping us demonstrate that.
Are we going to do a tour?
Yep, we're going to do a tour also. I know, and if you need to leave, we wanted to cover that part, so But yeah, you're welcome to join us on the tour.
Okay, I think I will go for just a minute on the tour and then I will say goodbye to everybody.
All right. So here we are at the front gate. When you first come into SportsAbility Park, this is where you will spawn into this environment. You may not see the gate right away. You may be facing away, and so you'll see our signs, and then you'll see like the basketball goal, the cornhole set, the rockets. And so these are all things that you can explore once you come into the park for the first time. The signs here may change depending on different events and things that we're doing, and over time, of course, we will update them. And you may notice the big blue question mark here, and we have these placed in a few places throughout the park, and they're basically just information that may be helpful to you. This one is basically just a welcome message, so I'm going to click on it, and you'll see welcome to SportsAbility Park. This is an inclusive, family-friendly area. We ask that visitors please be kind and respectful of others in the park. And so that's what it'll look like when you click on one of these question mark icons here, and different ones will say different things, of course. So the gates currently, they open automatically every 30, I guess 15 seconds or so, 10, 15 seconds. So as you're waiting out here, you might be waiting for your friends to join you. You can shoot basketball. These items are interactable, if that's a word. And so I picked up a basketball. I'm going to shoot, and of course I miss, but you can see how you can interact with some of these things. Same with the cornhole set. Let me pick up a beanbag here and see if I have better luck with this. Oh no, just short. But these are all things you can interact with, and we have other items placed throughout the park as well. So now once the gates open again, we'll go inside and we'll give you a tour of what's inside the park. There we go, right on time. And so as you enter, you'll notice probably first a big waterfall right in front of you. You can actually climb these rocks and get to the very top for a nice little surprise at the very tip top there. And it also gives a great overview of the park, where you can see almost the entire park from up there. To the left here, we have our stage where we'll have special events, and we'll have presenters and speakers on the stage giving presentations. And just like in the real world, if you were in a real park, if someone was way over by the waterfall having a conversation with their friends, you wouldn't be able to hear them. But if someone was standing right next to you talking, you would be able to hear them. And so that same concept applies here in the virtual park. If you're near someone who's speaking, you'll be able to hear them, and if they're far away, you won't. And so when we have speakers on stage, you can still come into the park with your friends, even if you're not wanting to participate in the presentation, and still do other things in the park without having to hear the presentation. So it's a great multi-use kind of a space. You'll see here on the right we have another sign. So again, we'll update information on these signs as needed. And let's see here. Another thing you might notice is this strange looking aerial obstacle course. The idea here is to find your way to as high as you can go, ideally to that very top orange platform, which is actually pretty challenging to do. I've only seen one person accomplish it so far. So it is pretty challenging, but the idea is we just want you to explore the park, challenge yourself, and just have fun with it. That's a great challenge to do with friends, to see if as a group you can figure it out, and if someone does, if they can help the others figure it out with them. So very, very interesting challenge there, as might be the hardest one in the park at the moment. We'll just come forward here a little bit more. You'll notice another blue question mark here. I'm not going to click on it. I'll leave that for you to read when you come in yourself and see what tips it might provide. Over here across the bridge, you notice kind of a little fire off in the distance here. So this is our campfire nook, little hideaway here. And as you'll notice, we have another basketball goal over here, another cornhole set. But this is a place where you can come and hang out with friends and just have conversations. The fire is actually a working fire. Luckily, since it's virtual reality, you won't actually burn yourself, but you can light a sparkler. So here we have a sparkler. Let me put it in the fire. And there we go. So we can draw things in the air with our sparkler until it burns out, and then it's done. Again, this is our campfire hideaway over here. So you can come hang out with friends and play ball or play cornhole or just have a good time together. Let's see, what else? As I mentioned, climbing the waterfall is one of our challenges. We tried to place some fireworks in key places that are either cool little places to hang out, or once you've completed a challenge, we put some fireworks there so you can celebrate. So at the tip top of this rock here is some fireworks, and if you get up there, you can shoot off some fireworks from the very top of the park. Here we have Laurie standing in front of the little cabin here, and this is one of the entries into the obstacle course here. But you may want to start by climbing the rocks and getting up on one of the platforms, and then you basically have to jump back and forth to work your way up the obstacle course. Within the little cabin, we'll go inside here. Got hung on a rock there. We have the dartboard here, and just like with the other items, it is you can interact with it. So let's see what I can do with this. 10 points. So you can come in here and play a game of darts with your friends. It's pretty fun to, especially if you have someone to do it with, but eventually you get pretty good at it. See, already improving. So 10 to 40. This here is a elevator as kind of the first starting point of the obstacle course. It's not running right now, but usually this is going up and down fairly quickly, so it challenges you to get on it pretty quick, and then you have to get off pretty quick when you get to the top. But that's a fun starting point for the obstacle course. So here we're looking back towards the front gate, and you can see the stage off to the right here, and off to the left there's another gate, and we actually have some virtual animals in there. The idea is eventually we'll have more animals. We may change them out periodically, and that will kind of be our wildlife education area, where we can provide additional information about different types of animals and their habitats and things like that. Also throughout the park, and these will change over time. I'm going to show you up. Let me jump forward here to go a little faster. You'll notice this portal here. We will have these portals in other places throughout the park at different times, and these can lead to other activities such as fishing or kayaking or rock climbing, maybe paragliding. I don't know. There's all kinds of opportunities for us to do virtual activities, and so this portal will lead you to those other activities, and we'll have it labeled so that you know what it is, and we'll probably change it out over time. And so not only can you come into the park and do the things that we have set up for you here in the park, but you can also access other virtual activities here. And the idea is we want people to come in, feel comfortable and safe exploring and trying new things, and hope that that confidence of doing that exploration translates into the real world, where people will then try these activities in the real world. And so part of what we'll be doing in the park is also the education of different ways you can adapt and modify equipment or methods of doing these activities so that everyone can participate. And so there's a lot the park has to offer. It's still in the early stages, so we will be adding more. But we just wanted to give you a quick tour of what it looks like inside the park so that you know what to expect when you come in. So one of the things I didn't cover is the menu here in the park. So, well, actually in all of AltSpace. So I'm going to go back to the menu here, and I showed you the people for when you have friends. You can find your friends and go to where they're at. Currently nobody's online, so I can't go where anybody's at. But you also have, there are other things going on in AltSpace. They have different events. There are other types of worlds that you can visit. And we have found that everywhere we've gone has been very welcoming. Everybody has been very supportive and very encouraging to explore in the virtual world. You do have some settings here. If you go to the settings options here, sometimes when you come into the park, let's say you're coming in with some friends and you're both in the park, but for some reason you can't see or hear each other. This is a kind of a virtual reality is a fairly new software, AltSpace specifically, and so they're still developing it. And so there are times when things just don't work just right. And so a lot of times when those kind of quirky things happen, all you need to do is re-enter the space to fix that. And the easiest way to do it is go to the menu, go to settings, and right here where it says re-enter space, you just click re-enter, and it'll just bring you right back in. And usually that fixes whatever the issue is. And that's the quickest way of doing that. So I wanted to make sure you knew how to do that. But you can also play around with some of these other settings. Depending on how comfortable you are in virtual reality, you might want to move a little slower. Try out these different settings to see how it works for you. Also, you have some display settings, your audio settings, so turning volumes up and down might be helpful. So that is what it's like in the park, and those are some of the settings that you can do within the menu. So you may be asking, how do you get started? How do you get in here? So I'm going to get out of AltSpace here. Let me minimize this. And I'm going to bring up the AltSpace website here. And I'm actually logged into my account, so let's go vr.com. So if you go to altvr.com, you'll here on the top menu, one of the first options is Get AltSpace VR. So if you click there, you have different options depending on how you're going to access AltSpace. So they have different types of VR headsets and equipment, so the Oculus, the Windows Mixed Reality, and the HTC Vive. But I'm actually accessing it on a Windows computer. I'm not using a VR headset. So you can also get it from the Windows Store, which is also called the Microsoft Store. And so if you click this, it opens up Microsoft Store, and then you can download it from there. And they are in the process of making this more compatible with Macs, but right now you may experience some issues on Mac, but you can try it on Mac as well. I know our park has some issues with Mac right now, but we have identified what we think is the problem, and so we should have a solution pretty soon. But you can experience this on a computer if you don't have a headset. And so the first step is to come here and download the software that you need. And then once you open up that software, either in your headset or on your computer, you'll create an account. And so that's the first step, is creating your account. Once you create the account, it'll walk you through creating your avatar, which are these characters here in the bottom right. And like when you saw Laurie on screen, that was her avatar. So you'll design your own to represent you. And then it'll walk you through the steps of how to move in the VR worlds, and that sort of thing, and you can explore the menu and some of those options. So once you've gone through that tutorial, then you're able to access the SportsAbility Park. And the easiest way I've found to do that is here on AltSpace VR, go to Worlds on a menu. And if you come here and you're logged into your account, you can get to Worlds by going to More and then selecting Worlds from there. But here on the Worlds, go over to Search. And then type in SportsAbility. I just already have it typed in here, so I'm going to select that and click Search. And here we are. They call it SportsAbility Commons. So from here, you can either click Visit Now, and it'll open up the AltSpace software and immediately take you into SportsAbility Park. Or if you click here on the card, it'll open up kind of the SportsAbility Park profile page. And from here, you can click on Favorite. I've already favored it, so it's giving me the option to unfavorite. But I highly recommend you saving it as a favorite. It really makes it easier to find once you're in the VR software. Just like here on the top, you have these different options. You can go to favorited, and as you see now, I only have 2 options. It makes it much easier to find. And so let me open AltSpace back up, and I'll show you how that looks in the menu. So here in AltSpace, if I go to Menu and then I go to Worlds, up here at the top I have, if you notice, there's not a search, so it's a little more difficult to find in the software. But here under Favorites, I have SportsAbility Commons right here, so I can click on Enter and it'll take me right in. So that's why I recommend saving it as a favorite from the website, and that way when you're in the software it's much easier to find. So that is SportsAbility Park. That's how you get started, and that's also how you find the park once you do create your account. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at info@fdoa.org, and we'd be happy to help. Thank you.